So finally, we've stopped, we've reflected and learned one more step. Share the benefits. Now here's a paradox. In Karma Yoga and contemplative traditions in general, there's a recommendation that after you do your activity, you set an intention to share the benefits that you've gained with everyone, or even to give them away. Now that sounds kind of paradoxical. You've worked very hard, you've brought mindfulness to this, you've investigated. Why give them away? It's based on a very profound understanding of the way the mind works, that what we intend for another, we tend to experience ourselves. If we intend happiness and well-being for others, that's what we feel. In fact, for the meditation practices for cultivating, for example, love or compassion, one of the most important, valuable practices you do is simply recite and intend throughout the day. For example, for developing loving kindness, may you be happy, joyous, loving, peaceful. May everyone be joyous, loving, happy, peaceful. And if you do that continuously, I spent several months, but the first month I did this. The goal is to do it from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, just wishing good and happiness and well-being to everyone as fully as you can. And it can become an incredibly ecstatic experience. And it was literally the most ecstatic month of my life, just wishing well for all beings. Until you do these practices, very hard to have any sense of just how ecstatic it can be to wish well for all people. Because to do that, of course, what you intend for others, you experience yourselves. So, I was in a room, a little cell in which I could reach out and touch the walls. And I had the most ecstatic month of my life in there. The only way I can give a sense of the power and ecstasy of these practices when they're brought to fruition is if you took your best orgasm you'd ever had, multiplied, intensified it by about 3, 4, or 5, and imagined it going through the whole waking day. That's a sense of what's possible. I mean, it's really astounding how powerful these practices can be and how intense. And likewise with compassion. Same type of joyous delight in thinking of wanting to relieve the suffering of others. So the last step then is just taking a moment, and just wishing or intending, may these benefits be given, extend, shared with everyone. And finally remembering that the more we learn, we don't end up understanding everything. Actually, the paradox of really profound learning is the more we open and more profoundly we learn, the more we open into mystery. And the recognition that learning is endless and always ends in mystery. In fact, part of post-conventional maturity is an opening to mystery. It comes online at a post-conventional stage. And it's important to notice that we tend to think of not knowing and mystery as suggesting there's something wrong with us. It's actually a sign of existential maturity. My wife had a neat little summary of development throughout lifespan. She talked of moving from childhood magic to mastery to meaning to mystery. And certainly this was the conclusion of two of the greatest scientists who ever lived. From Albert Einstein, the most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands as the cradle of true art and true science. Whoever does not know it and can no longer wonder, no longer marvel, is as good as dead, and their eyes are dimmed. Possibly we shall know a little more than we do now, but the real nature of things, that we shall never know. Never. And the other, Isaac Newton. I love this quote so much I can recite it from memory. At the end of his life, I said, I do not know how I may appear to others, but as to myself, I seem to have been only as a small boy playing by the seashore. every now and then finding a brighter pebble or a prettier shell, while all around me the great ocean of truth lay undiscovered. And a story about not knowing, one of my favorite stories, a rabbi in a village in Russia quite some time ago, crossing the village square one morning and running into the village Cossack, and Cossack was kind of in a lousy mood and said, "Hi, Rabbi, where are you going?" Rabbi said, "Don't know." Cossack said, "What do you mean you don't know? Every morning you cross the square, you go to the tabernacle, you go to pray. You're trying to tell me you don't know what you're doing." He grabbed the rabbi and hauled him off to the village jail. And just as he was about to throw him in the cell, the rabbi said, "See, you just don't know."